Hey, I'm Amy Chang. I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach, and this is Healthy AF. In this podcast, I'll be bringing you all things health, from the newest health strategies to how to tackle those personal roadblocks that just will not let you move forward. So buckle in. We're going to be inspired and instructed, and dadgum, we're going to have a little fun on Healthy AF. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Healthy AF. This is the episode that you may or may not have been waiting for. It is September, and we have been talking about sleep. So I think I've told you all about just random things about sleep hygiene, and sleep, all of those behavioral things. I get asked two questions over and over and over again. What about magnesium, and what about melatonin? So this episode is going to be a little bit different because I'm going to give you the coach's perspective that I have, and I'm also going to give you like the nursing perspective that I have. So this episode, if you please check the show notes, you're going to have like a whole slew of links to click on videos, on studies, on I personally could really geek out on the science, the neuroscience, the biochemistry happening in our bodies, and how does magnesium do that? And what does it matter? How it, I could really get going on all that stuff because that's something I love. So I'm going to give you the resources in the show notes. So if you want to dive deep and get all crazy town, you can do that. Also, fun fact, you don't have to spend your whole day. I remember when I was getting my master's for becoming a nurse practitioner, it meant all day on the PubMed search engine, which was not, you had to go in through your university to get to it, and doing all the searches for all the abstracts, but all you could get were the abstracts. And then you had to go to the library at the university and use your copy card to copy all these articles. You come home with 27 articles, have to read through all of those. Half of them didn't work. 3 of them were on the wrong thing. 4 of them didn't apply. And you'd, have those 5 articles that you were living by. Oh my gosh, it's so much easier now. You don't have to do that. I'm including a couple links for 2-minute neuroscience videos on YouTube. They're really great. They're pretty accurate from what I could tell. And you can just get a 2-minute research, on melatonin and magnesium in your pineal gland and your brains and your neurotransmitters and how all that stuff works. So I hope I've done some of the legwork for you. When we talk sleep, I have said most of the time when people come to me and they start working and they've got this whole list of the things in their life and their health that they want to address, and we finally say okay, where's the first place to focus right now? What's the first step? It comes up all the time for me: sleep. I need to do my sleep. Okay, great. Even when I'm really surprised, no, they always pick sleep because sleep is such a core component of our mental health and motivation, and gives us sort of the power and the drive to do all the other things. Okay, so we talked about behavioral patterns of sleep. What about adding in magnesium? So I actually wrote my notes up so that I don't say these things wrong. And please forgive me too if I butcher some scientific something. It's not a strong suit for me. Magnesium. Okay, so when you think about magnesium, I want you to think muscles and nerves. Magnesium is it's just an essential mineral that we have, and we get it in our diet. It contributes to 300 processes in your body, 300. So it's not one of those yes, you take magnesium and then this one thing happens in your body. It's not like that. Okay. In fact, when you think about muscles and nerves, you might think about muscles and nerves, your brain is telling your finger to move, nerves. But I want you to think a little deeper than that. Now, when we think magnesium, we think it just settles us down a little bit. Well, how does it do that? And how does a muscle settle down? How does a nerve settle down? Well, magnesium helps that happen. Okay. So when you think about your muscles, I know when I'm trying to go to sleep and I get that restless leg feeling, like there's electricity in my legs, or like they just need to kick, or they're a little bit uh, itchy, but not like scratchy itchy, but just they feel itchy. If you've ever had restless leg syndrome, you're probably like nodding, like, yeah, girl, I got it too. Yeah. So magnesium is really good for that because it just settles those muscles down. Well, you also have muscles in your blood vessels. So what happens when we settle down a muscle that's in our blood vessel? The vessel opens up, our blood pressure goes down. So magnesium can affect your blood pressure in that way. Um, your heart, of course, is a muscle. We have all these cramping, recovery after sport. All of that is impacted by how much magnesium we have, not only in our bloodstream, but in our tissues. Okay, that's two different things, right? We could talk for days about you can put something in your mouth. That's not guaranteed. It's going to go through your gut, into your bloodstream, and then into your tissues, and then get processed and filtered back out. That's not a guarantee. All we know is that we're putting it in our mouths. Okay. So, and supplements are funny like that. When we talk about supplementation, we talk about, well, sometimes it's more readily available if we eat it from food rather than taking a supplement. Different forms of magnesium have different availability. So you might take 400 milligrams of that magnesium, but your body might only be able to absorb and utilize 100 of that. So there are just so many things to talk about. And I want to give you enough that we tell you what you can use, tell you how to find the deeper dive stuff, and never let you believe that it's just super simple, because it's not super simple. Okay, so let me just check out my paper here on my magnesium. For one thing, I'm going to give you a link in the show notes to a video that I really like that goes over different types of magnesiums. You can Google different types of magnesiums. You'll find videos that come up that are like 7 types of magnesium, 9 types of magnesium. Because we combine magnesium with something else, like magnesium oxide and magnesium chloride, all of those types of magnesium, because of what it's bound to, are going to react differently in the body, and they are going to be absorbed differently in the body, and they are going to give you a different benefit. So if you really need to poo and that's all you need to do, like I just got to poo, I'm so constipated, hit you some Magox and sit near the toilet. That's what we used to do in nursing. You know, they'd be drinking that Magox, and the next thing you know, we are cleaning some stuff up. And that's okay, right? Probably that's not the one you want to use to help you sleep. So if you're looking for sleep, we talked about how magnesium helped muscles and where muscles were, and some of the effects you could see when you take magnesium that relaxes your muscles. But we didn't really talk about nerves. So magnesium also sort of settles those nerves down. So it has been shown to help people fall asleep easier and have better sleep quality. The data is not like super extra solid on that, but there is data out there talking about magnesium giving you an easier time falling asleep and better sleep quality. So knowing that there are different types of magnesium, and knowing that each type works a little bit differently in the body, and knowing that each of us have different needs, you've got resources now to go look at different types and decide what you'd like to start with on your little magnesium journey. I will tell you that I recently made the choice to do a 3-in-1, actually magnesium. It's a blend where it blends 3 different types of magnesium. I chose magnesium glycinate. It is a precursor for a neurotransmitter called GABA. And that neurotransmitter is like one that says like, okay, chill out, nerves. Just like chill out. So for me, you know, this is so funny. I got a little ADHD, right? I'm going, I'm going. I might feel anxious. I might feel, and that's going to like sort of help that settle down. And that's really going to help me get to sleep. I also chose two others. And these two are very similar and they cross the blood brain barrier. Now, if you're not familiar with blood brain barrier, basically what that means is your brain has a little gate, for lack of a better term, that keeps crap out and lets brain appropriate stuff in. Okay. It's called the blood brain barrier, and only certain things can pass through. So, these two types of magnesium pass through the blood brain barrier. One is L-threonate. It has a great neurological effect and does help with the anxiety, the depression, the ADHD, and the memory. Now, there's some studies about that in Alzheimer's dementia. I don't even want to get into that. I don't know if they're solid enough to really suggest anything, but that is in the cooker. So if you have a concern about Alzheimer's or dementia, you might want to do your own research on the magnesium L-threonate and the magnesium taurate. So similar effect there, and it's been linked to decreased migraines. And the reason I chose it because there are some rat studies that show a possible slowing of cataract development. And at 51, they already told me that I had some early cataract development. So I was like, okay, yes, please. I'll take the glycinate and the L-threonate and the taurate all in one big box so that I can sleep well, poop in the morning, have less anxiety, depression, ADHD, mind racing, maybe better memory with that Alzheimer's gene that I do have, and put off some cataract development. Okay, so that is how I chose what magnesium I wanted to take. That's where the nurse part of me stops. That's the nurse educator part. I've told you, a good starter so that you'll know the next steps to take. The coach part of me is going to tell you this. I don't know what you need. I don't know what you want in your life to have or what is the biggest thing that's you're struggling with right now. I do know if you try something, you're going to find something out. So it's not terribly expensive to buy a supplement. You want to buy a supplement, start slow. With magnesium, you're going to know if you have too much because you're going to start pooping. And it's not going to be like, don't worry, you're not going to go from like, I haven't pooped in a week to like, it's running down my legs. You're not going to go from there to there with one magnesium tablet. But you're going to want to start with one capsule and see what effect you're getting. Try it for maybe 3 or 4 days. And then you might want to increase to 2 caps. Take it slow, dance with it a little bit, see how you feel, see how your muscles feel, see how your mood is, see what your poop is doing. Magnesium has a very long half-life. And what that means is that it stays in our bodies. So if you take some one day and then forget it the next, it's probably going to be okay. And you might even find that what works for you is to have more of a schedule where you take it 3 or 4 days in a week and then don't take it the other times. Now, I'll also tell you, you can get magnesium in food. But we've got this thing going on right now in our food supply here in America, at least, where you really don't know how many nutrients are in the soil. So you don't know. I know how much, maybe you can find how much magnesium was in your green leafies in the 1950s. It's going to be different than what it is now. And you've got that, what's the bioavailability? Can my body get it in? Can it utilize it? So I hear the argument, but we can get it in our food. But my counter to that is yes, but most of us don't. So I don't ever say to people a magnesium supplement is bad to try. I think it's a great choice to try and listen to your body on what your body is telling you. It's relatively safe. Um, you might have a few softer poops than you want to have, and that's really going to be the only sort of thing about magnesium that might get on your nerves. Okay, so that's magnesium. Let me see. Make sure I told you everything I need to tell you about that. Yep. Okay. Melatonin. Let's go to melatonin. So, melatonin is a natural hormone that's produced in our pineal gland, and it helps with our circadian rhythm. So, what that means is it helps you know that when the sun comes up, it's time to get up. And when the sun goes down, it's time to go to sleep. Now, when you talk about supplements, I think you first got to talk about, well, when you talk about a natural, like neurohormone that is produced in our body that now we are supplementing, you'd never just like, oh, I'm just going to take some estrogen today. You wouldn't do that, right? You would not treat it like you were just grabbing something off the CVS shelf. You would treat it like you need to be mindful and understand. And I think that's where some of my rub comes with melatonin supplements, is because I hear so many people who are struggling with sleep, their first intervention, it's not sleep hygiene. It's not a little bit of magnesium. It's not, looking at how they set bedtime alarms or what their stress level is or whether or not they're eating right before they go to bed. It's none of that. It's, I need melatonin. And I'm not down with that. I think there are a lot of other things you can do before you do melatonin. That being said, when my marriage ended and my world was upside down, this girl took some melatonin. Okay. There is a time and a place. When you are in times of stress, transition, grief, change, those bouts of insomnia that are short-lived, that's a great time to use some melatonin. When you're jet lagged, great time to use a little melatonin to help your body. I'm looking more at sustained long-term use. So what is melatonin? How is it made? How does it work? Well, here we go. So it's made in your pineal gland and it's not stored, which means if this were a bakery, we bake the bread and it's sold that day. Okay, that's it. We don't have any more. We don't have, 3 weeks a day old bread. When the melatonin is made, it is secreted, which means your body has to have an on-off switch for this is when we secrete, this is when we do not secrete. This is when levels are high and needed, this is when levels are low. Levels are high when it is dark outside. Our pineal gland knows to make and pump out melatonin when our retinas detect that good outside natural light. Okay, so I'm going to say that again. Our pineal gland knows when to make and pump out melatonin when our retinas are seeing natural. Ooh, that's completely backwards. My bad. I'm going to start that all again. Okay, because this is important. It's an up-down ratio. Our pineal gland knows when to create and secrete melatonin when our retinas see dark. That's what signals the body, hey, it's time to chill the front door out. I'm fixing to go to bed and I need you to settle down. And that's like a 2 to 4 hour window. That is not, it's 8:30 and I want to be asleep by 9. That is, it's 6 and the natural light is going down. And my brain is like, oh, it's going to be bedtime soon. I need to chill out. And that's when your melatonin starts being released and it starts helping your body chill the front door out so that you can go to sleep. And your brain continues to release that. And your levels go up when you are sleeping and it is dark. Then the natural light comes back up because the sun rises. Thank God the sun rises, and our little retinas open up, and we see that light, and it goes through the retina and into it's. This is not really the real path, but for our purposes, this is the path, and into that pineal gland. And the pineal gland is like, oh crap, there's light outside. No more melatonin needed. And it shuts that down. And melatonin goes low during the day because we're seeing all this light. And then when it gets dark again and our retinas are not picking up natural light, that message is sent to the pineal gland. Hey, it's getting dark. The light is changing. And the pineal gland starts pumping out, creating and pumping out melatonin. And that's how we get sleepy. So what can get in the way of that? Being on a screen, having on our blue lights up at full full brightness in my I gotta say, so my oldest daughter lives with me, and she keeps a different schedule. And I've been so proud of her at her ripe old age of 23. She is now like, there's no more all-nighters. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that for any test. I'm not doing that for any, it completely messes up my schedule. But she still stays up later than I do. I'm tucked into my room getting ready for night between 8:30 and 9, sometimes 9:30 if it's a weekend. It gets crazy up in here. And she's probably up and studying until, I don't know, 10:30 or 11. So when I'm ready for it to be dark, when the sun goes down outside, maybe, I don't know, between 5:30 and 7, really depending on the season, I'm cutting lights off in the house. Well, she still needs to be like up and awake and ready to study. So she's like, Mom, you're killing me cutting out the lights. And we sort of have this funny / not funny war in our house about, do we have the yellow light lamps on, or do we have the overhead blue light can lights so that she can see what she's doing here? Our brains need different things at the same time of day. So you can help your body secrete and create melatonin by two really ways, a lot of ways, but two ways that come to mind. Going outside in the morning with your naked eyeballs, not being beside a window, which is good, but best is to take those naked eyeballs outside and see that morning sun, see that morning light, and then to do that again in the afternoon so that your little retinas can, oh, it's this time of day. All right, come on. Or it's that time of day. No, cut off. Or you can adjust your indoor lighting so that when it's about that time that it's getting darker outside, 2 to 4 hours before you go to bed, you're going to want to decrease your lighting inside and change it from any blue to like a warm light. If you're going to take a melatonin supplement, that's the time to take it. It's not 30 minutes before you go to bed like you would a pharmaceutical sleeping pill. It's the time that it's like a 2 to 4, like this is the time that I need my body to start recognizing that I'm ready to chill out. Okay. All right. So now now that I said it right about 14 times, how your body makes, secretes, and utilizes melatonin, and what kind of message it gets from your eyeballs to make that happen. So if you sleep until 2 p.m. and you get up and you take your naked eyeballs outside, that light is different from 6 a.m. light. So if you are a night owl, late morning sleeper, or even early afternoon sleeper, your melatonin might be a little wackadoodle. And that might be a good time to work with your care provider. And you might want to be using some melatonin supplements, treatment, so that you can readjust that sleep schedule. Same like you would for a jet lag situation. All right, let me see if I've told y'all everything I want to tell you. Melatonin, of course, helps you fall asleep faster. Signals from the retina, light, dark. Okay, this is what I wanted to end with. Because we make and secrete melatonin when we get a signal or don't get a signal, and we don't store it up, we call that feedback. When our bodies sort of check the levels of a substance in our bloodstream and check different signals to produce or not produce hormones, we can sometimes interfere with that if we throw more hormones in. So when we look at feedback loops in our bodies and how our bodies naturally regulate, let's say I have 100 whatever units in my bloodstream, and when that substance drops down to 60 units, my body is then told, oh, create more. We need more. Likewise, if I had 120 units of whatever it is, our bodies might be like, oh, no, you need to stop. So we have those regulators in our bodies. It's the magic and beauty of science and art and nature and spirit all in one thing, right? My concern with melatonin, especially on the long-term use, because there's no really good studies on long-term use of melatonin, is what happens to our own natural regulations when we throw melatonin in there. And I don't know the answers to that. I really do not know the answers to that. But that is one of the reasons why I'm like, long-term melatonin use. I'm not real sure about that, particularly if we haven't gone through all the other behavior changes that we can do, including getting outside early, getting outside in the afternoon, all the sleep hygiene, chilling the front door out with herbal teas and warm showers and all of those things. Those would be my first choices because I don't know the long-term effect of melatonin. And, melatonin is relatively safe. So if you are on the fence about, okay, I'm ready to pop a pill to help me sleep, and I'm looking at, do I want to take an Ambien or do I want to take a melatonin? Take the melatonin. There's no withdrawal symptoms. There's no addictive or dependence that you can get into with melatonin, like you can get into with some of the other like pharmacology kind of benzodiazepines or any of those other drugs. So that's what I know on melatonin and kind of the health coach / nursing perspective. That's how your body creates its normal, natural melatonin and uses it. That's why it's used in your body. There are probably some other uses for it that we haven't studied yet or aren't aware of. Short-term studies look okay. Long-term studies, don't know. There's other things you can do. And as a first step for a pill pop, I think that's a good choice. All right. Well, I hope that was helpful. I feel like I just threw up on y'all like 3, 2, 1, go, magnesium, melatonin. But I do get those questions quite often. The health coach in me will remind you, it is your body. It is your responsibility. And when you make choices, just listen to that body. Listen, because that body's going to tell you something every time you do an action. I hope that gives you some guidance. Give yourself some grace when you do an action that your body is like, no, too much magnesium. Subscribe, like, and share. If you ever want to just have a consultation about like, hey, my sleep stinks and I don't know what to do, there's a link. You can go to my website and schedule yourself some time and we can talk about what kind of coaching might be helpful for you to get your sleep back, get your life back, get your confidence and your motivation, all the things that good sleep bring you back. All right, y'all have a great week and I will see you next time on Healthy AF. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Healthy AF podcast. I hope that it has helped you create a new possibility for your health and sets you into action to go get it. If you want more information or if you want to connect with me, visit my website at myhealthylife.coach. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that each new Healthy AF episode will be sent directly to you. Let's take you from where you are to where you want to go.